put the red. Okay. I want to thank Torah Anytime, Kavish Pratis, and Kala Lashin, Rabbi Yosef Yafi, the Rabbeinu Shalom. I want to thank him, Ad Ein Shir, for being Zeicha to be Mezaka the Rabba. I want to thank him again. Now, that's not simple, to thank the Yevishter for being able to do that. I said it, I'm saying it once. It's baloney. I have to spend a full night, at least, for thanking Hashem to be Mezaka one Jew. If I got one Jew to be this much better, it's worth spending a whole night. You don't know how precious these things are in Shemayim. How important it is for yourself to appreciate what you're doing. When you put on film, you got to be dancing forever. With everything, you have to be machshav. Anyway, so I want to thank Hashem. And I said this word over Pesach, I said a gewaldige word. That when you throw your hands up and you say, hey, I can't do anything, then you get 1,000,000 times more than usual. So this time, 1,000,000, my father's based by the base of them, today's Yotzai. For me to get 1,000,000, I have to hustle to make things coordinate. This brother lives here, that one lives in Yehupitz, and that one there. Get them all the same time, and the cousins and the this. And last year I happened to do it. I was very happy, but it took a lot of hard work. And this year I says, I don't have kaiches, so you take over. And today I walk in, there are 3 minyanim, smooth. I wanted smooth and quick. Exactly what happened. I came home. I had time for everything, and it was just gewaltig. When you throw your hands up and you say, it's all up to you, then things really, really happen. One of the biggest Bali Musa in the last century, I don't want to go into the name, but the world famous, the king of all the old Bali Musa, has a grandson. His father was an Adam Gadol, and the grandson, I have a friend of mine who is in Eretz Yisrael right now, Yankee Shore, and he saw this grandson reading Bטחון Weekly. And he says, you know what that is? You know what he said? He said, this stuff? He started kissing the Bטחון Weekly. He doesn't know me. If you know I am, I don't know. I'm joking. I'm not that bad. But he said, this is what the Dar needs today. And then I heard that somebody, a family over there, when it came to B'dikas Chametz, they want to get rid of all the old Alonim. They decided we're not throwing out Bטחון Weekly Alonim. That stuff we need. We got to chazar that. That's something. I want to thank the Eibishter. Right after my father was nifta, things started moving. My father once promised me he's going to help me out. Stop, he saw I needed a boost. Like 2 years before he was nifta, he said something. Nothing happened. Right after he was nifta, my Bטחון Weekly, it was a shmosa. It started off with him. Now it's my mother. Now it's some other people. But it started off, he was the original. And things started really going uphill. I want to give my father credit. Nobody knows what's going on in the next world. I do want to say I have a very strong feeling that he's doing things. And I just got the same report. One of my nephews told me he had made a big turnaround in his life, that as soon as he started relating to, he did something with my father, boom, things started moving in his life. So I don't know what's really going on, but I want to warn all those people that give credit to their parents. Oh, your kids, Cavalli, it's my wife. Your kids are so sweet, it's my wife. Oh, you are matzliach, it's my parents. You are so, I can't get over you. Well, you have to give it credit. My Rabbeim, they put cases. Okay, I'm postling all that stuff. I'm not postling it. I want it to continue full blast ahead. You should be doing that. There are some people, don't ask, I could do that. I could tell a younger man, give your wife credit who you think you are. Some people need to hear that because the shalom bayis, the respect is missing. Some people need that stuff. Sometimes the husband needs, the wife needs a push, The other guys also. But what I want to tell you, usually, the burning issue is yourself. Don't get carried away with reading about Reb Chaim Kanevsky. Le'ilei nishmas Reb Chaim, read about yourself. Write a giant piece of Torah only about you and why you are superior, why you are the star of your family. I'm going to tell you something about my father. All the Mandels were very b'li ein hara, special people. I held my father to be the best. First of all, there's a halacha. Kibbut over aim. It's in your heart. You have to respect the etzem. You have to respect them. It's a job. Sometimes at least go through the motions. Sometimes it's harder. Sometimes the Abish to test you. He may give you an interesting, like Avram had a terach, you know. How did he deal with his kibbut avim? You know his father did to him? He picked him up. I'm going to report you to the authorities. You know, those days, you think communism is a new, you know, the communists encourage kids to report their parents. Parents are petrified of kids. All the years, in communist Russia, parents and kids were petrified of each other. There's a story, a true story, where both the father and the son were practicing Jews. And whenever the son had to make a bracha, he went to the bathroom to make a bracha. Because he couldn't make a bracha in front of his father. He was petrified of his father. When his father wanted to make a bracha, he went to the bathroom, make sure his son shouldn't see. Or wherever he went. Or go outside and take a look 10 times over. Is anyone looking? And then he made his bracha. Or he covered his head, whatever. Anything Jewish. They were horrified of each other. For years, they lived under the same roof, father and son. Both were practicing Jews. And both were afraid of the other one. Until one day, the Russians allowed once a year, Moscow shul allowed the Moscow shul allowed a Simchas Torah. One shul is for the world to see. See, we allow it. You know what they say? The Chazafisel, Edaim, Chazafisel, to show it. To show. So what's the matter? So now, he went to the Simchas Torah. Everyone's dancing over there, and he goes in the middle of and there he sees his father dancing in the middle, and his father sees him dancing in the middle. They both went wild. They kissed and hugged each other. I didn't know you are practicing Jew. I was so scared of you. Imagine what goes on, what went on there in communist Russia. The biggest hero of the country was Pavlov, I think his name was, a kid who reported his father. Lavdafka religious stuff. Anything there's a little bit, not 100%. A friend of mine was in Russia in that Kufa. He took a trip there, what he did there, and the bus stopped. He was in a plane, a jumbo jet, 400 people on the plane. The plane stopped for 4 hours. They have no regard for human people. You know, keep them waiting means nothing in Russia. Go on, 4 hours, why not? You know, the guy's going with sugar. No. So for 4 hours, the plane was delayed. They're all waiting, 400 people sitting on the plane. This guy told me not one person turned around to the guy next to him. Hello, what's your name? Who are you? 400 people sat like mannequins, like robots. That was communist Russia. You couldn't. Anyway, so what was I saying? So I was saying about fathers reporting kids. What was I saying? How did I get into it? Who? Oh, yeah. So Pablo, the son reported the father. He became a national hero. It was in all the newspapers because he reported that all the kids were encouraged to do the same. Report your parents. You catch them doing anything wrong. Your father is your mother Russia. The government is your father, your mother, your regular biological parents do not count. And that's the way they were raised. Shem Rachman, I don't know how I get into this, about this, no shmooze about it. Anyway, who? Yeah. Good. A Terach. The Terach reported his son, Avraham. And he said, Avraham, I'm going to report you to Nimrod, which means his son was thrown into the Kivshan Eish because his own father mastered on him. Because his father was more loyal to Nimrod than to being a father to his son. Imagine what kind of father he had, Avraham Avinu had. With a father like that, you don't need no enemies. You got it all right there at home. You got the biggest, your own father could do a thing like that. You know how Avraham did. He smashed up all the idols. Nimrod didn't like that. Terach didn't like so. And Avraham Avinu had to be told, Lech lecha mi'atzecha, get away from your father, because he was busy with kibbutz. That's what the Welt says, an alter terach. Alter terach. He had his old terach to take care of. See, mechaber a father, no matter what, you have to be mechaber a father. Avraham Avinu's greatness was, he was mechaber terach. I don't care who he is. You gotta be mechaber your father. It's the biggest mitzvah in the world. Without him, you're not alive. Your father, your mother. The big Sahara. People never do enough. And that sugya is never enough. Chazal go, they don't stop talking about that. Kibbut of aim is like, I was speaking about relatives. Some people were here the last time I spoke. They came special from Borough Park, very chashuv Engelite, Swedish Engelite. And and I was speaking about relatives. Now, I personally am not I could be super good with my relatives, but I could be super the other way. If I have a seder, my relatives aren't going to destroy my life for me, because I got to learn. You're going to spend 4 hours cholamayim with Tante Goldie and Uncle Chaim. What are you doing? 4 hours? Yeah, well, we have to know each other. We have to be friends. Now, I don't make away with that either, because I had Rabbim who did do those things, and for some people it's Kodesh Kodashim. Mekarvas Kreva is not a joke. I have a whole thing, one of my b'tachon, you respect your relatives. Oh boy. And I used to spend many years, a lot of great times with my relatives. But there's a time and place to be like that, and there's a time and place to be very different. A time and place to say, look, if I'm going to call up my sister, that's an hour on the telephone, unless I'm tough enough to say, okay, Goldie, 5 minutes are up, I got to go learn. Rabbi Miller, he was like that. If you can do that, good, but then they're insulted. I don't know. It depends what the matzav is. Every case is different. But I did speak about not to get so carried away with relatives. There are people, they feel it's a mitzvah. Every mitzvah Shabbos, they take a walk with their wives. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's a mitzvah. Some of the happiest, best people do those things. Being normal, the Alta Mirrors used to talk a lot about being the mal. So I have different things to say. I have two opposite. One guy I would say, enough of that stuff. You walk with your wife all day. You sound like a yidana. When I talk to you, I wonder, where's that coming? Das Torah, das Beis Yaakov, what they taught you. I think of Beis Yaakov girls are very chashuv. You don't make her wait. But still, she's in the cookbooks. Don't turn it into a god. My wife. Sometimes there's a makam. Avraham Avinu was told, listen to your wife. And without the Mama Rivka, if Yitzchak would have been in charge, we would have been in trouble. Asa would have gotten the brachas. You don't make away with these ladies. Sometimes the ladies, we owe them everything. That's one mahalach. Sometimes a lot of people got to hear that. And a lot of, maybe sometimes more people have to hear something else, because they already got that message, maybe too much. By them, the wife is already God. He said, what does my wife say? What's my wife's opinion? I know you're like all the major decisions they discuss with Gedolei Torah. Their heads are full of Das Torah because all their lives, that's where they aim. They don't, and they take walks for hours for this. Sometimes it's a mitzvah. Sometimes it's a waste of time. Everybody's different. Look, I usually say the guys that should be spending time with their wives are busy in Beis Medrash, and the guys that should be learning are busy with their wives. Everybody runs after his negiah. It's possible, but I don't like to be so critical. Everything's fine. But I do have a case against relatives. I do have a very strong case. Rabbi Miller once said, oh, you want to send your father-in-law, you want to be a good son-in-law, right? So to show that you're a good son-in-law, you have to spend 4 hours with him once a week to prove that you're still friends. What are you going to talk about? You speak of learning, okay. But what are you going to talk about to show that you're still friends? Not the Kozowitz, that's how one said. When a guy becomes a chassan, he's going to visit his shver. How smart is that visit? What are the chances of saying something stupid? They're pretty high, What's the Adam going to say? So the shver is going to find out, oh no, this is the big Mitzuyan that they're all talking about. I spent the whole Yom Tov with him. Oh boy, I saw what he does, I saw the way I didn't like the way he benched, I didn't like the way he learned, the way he treated my daughter, what are you looking for trouble for? No, you have to spend time. See, I'm making fun of it. Sometimes you make fun of it, sometimes you do it. Everybody's different. But I made a whole case. I was telling them, I said, what I believe at certain stages in my life, my relatives are very important. They're very into that. Going to all the chatzanis, I go all over the place, and I enjoy them. I like my relatives. Enjoy them! Be friends with them. Make them happy. Build them up. They need each other. You need care of each other. That was certain stages. I reached some other stages where, bye-bye. Nice knowing you. Oh, one of my close relatives called my wife. Come here, it's for you. It's my brother, it's my sister. Call my wife, it's for you. I'm in the middle of a Tysfus over here. I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna throw away I have to be a nice relative for the rest of my life. Again, watch out. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Okay. But I was saying a whole shtick Torah about not caring about relatives. I said, but there are 2 relatives, you don't play no games with them. Your father and your mother. Oh boy. Your parent, your wife too, by the way, or your husband. Oh, that's not a joke either. But your father and your mother, you know what I once did? I had to visit my parents. I once visited my parents for a weekend, whatever. I flew, they were in LA, I was here. So I went there 5 times in 1 year. And the 5th time, I said, they're going to think I'm crazy. I called Rav Scheinberg. Rav Scheinberg went berserk when I told him, visiting. Your parents? He mamish went berserk. Go! Keep it over aim! He was screaming. He's not the only one in my Rabbein that sounded like that. Keep it over aim! You know what that is? Giving respect to your parents. It's everything. So I'm right now in the mode that throws all my relatives in the garbage. That I don't have time for this sister, this brother, this cousin. Don't bother me, brother-in-laws. So I'm not so friendly. Get lost. I'll even go to the simcha and go in and out. I was there, you saw me. I was on the chair. Bye. I'm busy. I'm one of those, let's say. But your parents? Oh, no. That's a different world. Kibbut aim. Your life is thank you to your father and your mother. I don't care if your father's a terach. I don't care who he is. Avraham Avinu is mechabed as terach. You have to be mechabed your parents to the extreme. And I told Rav Scheinberg, the 5th time I wasn't sure I should go. Because, they're getting, you're coming to visit again? Oh, I see you have nothing else to do with your time, obviously. Obviously, you're not studying and learning too much these days. The fifth time you're coming in 1 year, they wouldn't say that to me, but that's what they would be thinking. Like, oh, you're here again. Took another trip, Billy. So the fifth time, I wasn't sure I should go or not. So I asked her, Charmy, if I go again, it's going to look strange. You know what he told me? Go! I says, but what am I getting? Tell them you love them, but go! A father and a mother. All your siyata d'ishmaya, kibbut ovaim. I know two tremendous gvirim. They're multi-millionaires who are super successful in their lives. Both were crazy kibbut ovaim. One of them both there was an illness. The father was sick. One of them used to be absent from yeshiva all the time because he was busy with his old father. And the other one, he was boring, the guy. All he could talk about, my father this, my father that. How's he feeling? How's that? No. All he talked about, my father. His father was nifta. His father wasn't even from. Right after his father was nifta. He was nowhere. He wasn't married. He was nabach. But one thing good about him is kibbut. As soon as his father was nifta, he became suddenly. He got a shidduch like Gan Eden. No one believed. How did he get such a girl? He was an older bach. He wasn't getting married to save his life. He had no self-esteem. He used to come to me how to work on self-esteem. He was a zero. He suddenly, right after his father passed away, he got married. What a shidduch. Him getting married, I try to rent him shidduchim. You know, the wall listens better than he did. You're talking, he wasn't a gayer. He was 36, 38, 39, 40. He was out of it. He wasn't. You know, some guys, they hit a point that they were more marriage material. Once asked Rabbi Miller, a girl asked him, when is a girl ready to get married? Rabbi Miller says, when she's young and she's dumb and she doesn't know what's going on, then she's ready for marriage. The older she gets, the less ready she is. You're smarter, now she's got 100 more reasons why to say no. She's against her. I was punked on the phone with a bacher trying to rent him a shidduch, and I was talking to the wall. He had 2,000 reasons. He's steiging. He's a bacher's already at Ne'ev Esrim. He's already, he could be almost a Zayda. And he's still, we have to think about it, you know. You get them when they're young and dumb, they don't have seichel, then they're ready for marriage. Anyway, so this guy wasn't getting married to save his life. And he was a nobody. Right after his father was nifta, he suddenly got a shidduch that you never heard of in your life. He got a tzaddik, a super, just forget it. Everybody knows. He got himself a shidduch that it makes no sense even. How chashuv. And he has a family you never saw. And right after he got married, he became a multi-millionaire. And he's a shem all over the world. He's a hit. He's a powerhouse, a tzaddik. Everything. Right after his father was nifta. He was, the other one, also he had an old father. He was never there. He couldn't come to yeshiva like the other guys. As soon as his father was nifta, he became a multi-millionaire. I don't know what's going on in Shemayim. As soon as my father was nifta, Tacha Weekly is moving. I want to give him credit. Today was the yahrzeit. Everybody have in mind. Rav Nachman ben Zev, because Moshe should have a big aliyah adin shir. Anybody who has my father in mind or says a prayer mishnayos to him, I will be indebted to him forever. And I'll give him all the brachas, and my brachas are working. I was on the phone a few minutes ago. A 28-year-old Hasidic girl. I says, who did they call me up? Who are you? Who is this? I'm the 28th Hasidic girl that everyone gave up on. And this happened about 15 years ago. I'm the 28-year-old Hasidic girl who lives in Bnei Brak. and whom everybody gave up on. And right after your bracha, within a month, things started moving. And 2 months later, I was engaged to a bacha, and it's interesting. I gave a bracha that she'd be a happy family. She said it's exactly what happened. A happy family. See, my bracha's Rabbi say, and she's happily married right after my bracha. So how did I get into that? Oh, even she was my father. So I don't know how he... What? Oh, see, I give a bracha. I was stopped by two young guys, a man and a wife, stopped me in the street just a few days ago, middle of Yom Tov. Rabbi Mendel, our daughter, was having excruciating pain. And we ran to you, and we said, I never remember, they have to remind me. That's why I want to be thanked, because then I remember, another mythos. Okay, let's add that to the list. So what happened? So excruciating pain. They found a super large stone in the kidney, and then she's ready for the mill, and she's going through Gehenna. And you give a bracha right afterwards. Things started improving. She woke up the next day. The doctor knew what happened. The stone disappeared. It's all gone. So he said, "We want to thank you, Rabbi Mendel. You're Bar Mitzvah." So I says, "Can you remind me what did I say when I promised you a Yeshua?" You said, "Go tell your daughter to eat pickles." Imagine. That's my way of saying Danish can come. So you see what about Mitzvah I am? So anybody, I got a kid off a vent. In my records, I did that a few times. I got kids off vents. You know what a vent is? The parents told me. They told me like 2 weeks ago. The doctor said there's no way your child will ever live a normal life. The child, we have to dig. A little baby was born with all kinds of issues. We have to cut a hole, Hashem Yerachim, a vent. That's it for the rest of their lives. What is that, a vent? Who? Drake. I don't know, one of those things that Hashem Yerachim, the kids messed up forever. And I said, baloney. Baloney. A week later, suddenly the doctor said, we changed our mind. It made no sense. They changed their mind. The kid doesn't need it. Also, they found the brain is super big, and they're going to examine it again. It's terrible. I said, baloney. A week later, they took another test. Oh, everything's normal. So when Mendel gives brachas, he means business. I'm giving brachas now. Anybody says anything for Nachman, Harav Nachman ben Ze'ev Kas Moshe, I give him the world. Everything I have, I owe my father and my mother, Tzaddikus. And I want to thank my father for raising me. One of the greatest things my father accomplished, he was a tzaddik. I'll talk about him forever. They say he was the first beard in America, you know that? He gets scharf. Today it's easy to have a beard, big spiel. Those days, that's not a big spiel. It is a big spiel. Don't play that down. Give yourself credit. But my father was even better, because he broke the ice. And he was a yida. He taught kids for 70 years. He was sent, Rashaga Feigl sent him to Far Rockaway to be Makar. Everybody loved my father. He was an epitome of Darkei Noyam. He's sweet. The way Rashaga Feigl Zatzal once gave a whole shmooze. He said, a shmooze, I'm going to show you what Simcha of Mitzvah is. Watch Harav Nachman Mendel. He'll show you how to have a geschmack. He used to take us Friday night and for a walk, and he used to sing, Wenn ich mal gehad Koboya, wollt ich in die Gassen gelaufen, I wollte geschriegen, Shabbos, Shabbos, Ayoim Lashem, Shabbos, 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 Ay Shabbos, Ayoim Lashem, Ay Shabbos, Ayoim Lashem. See, my voice is not good. Whenever my voice cracks in the middle of a niggin, I say, I just got schar for 100 nigunim. Toy pam b'tzar, m'meya b'litzar. Whenever, it's a rainy day, 100 times. Learning, whatever happens. It was hard, 100 times. Moschach. I got lost on the way to the Yortzeit Suda, and I was all depressed and discouraged. I went to 100 Yortzeit Sudas. You know that one thing you think is a joke. There was somebody here in Lakewood. You know, you ever hear of Ridge Avenue? Whoever created Ridge Avenue was no Suffolk in middle of it was Mahadran of Adlo Yada, the biggest Mahadran of Adlo Yada. He was tight shikah. Whoever made up Ridge Avenue, I don't know who that Meshuggah was, but I had to go to somebody. His sister's life was in danger, and she didn't stand much of a chance. And they were making a million. They wanted me to come. I used to help a lot for his sister. I was involved with him, his brother, Tzaddik, and the whole family. But it was Ridge Avenue. So it took me half an hour to find till I got there. It was over. You know, I missed it. And on the way, he says, Rabbeinu Shalom, I know I'm going to miss Mr. Tillam, but the schus of my getting lost on Ridge Avenue is going to give her a full shalema. And sure enough, she did it. She had miracles of miracles. Until today, they thank me for getting lost on Ridge Avenue. For going around and and another ridge. Oh, how many Abba cases you had to miss the ridge? How many you still drink? Anyway, but well, how did I get into this? What am I talking about? My father used to sing. The nigga, and I get 100 times moschar. My crack when I sing it, it doesn't go. My voice isn't 100 times moschar. You know what? I once had trouble with my voice years ago, for a year or two. And I davened once. I says, Eibishter, I don't want this problem. It disappeared and it was gone forever. You get it? I may try that again. Just daven. I go straight to the boss for everything. You know, today, I can't get a million to go to my father's thing. They don't coordinate. These litvakas, they're all over the place. Well, we have interesting family. We're all kinds. Some live in Yehuppets, some live in this place, that place. This one has the kids busy, this one's that. So to get everyone together, I want a million at my father's grave, and this was Chag. And last year I put my foot down, I must get that million. It means a lot to me, I want to have a million. So Baruch Hashem, last year, the first time I got a million. This year I got on the phone, got a million, I have no kaiches. I can't deal with it. He's not home. He gives me a number. Where's cousin so-and-so's number? Okay. I dial it once, twice, 3 times. You know how it goes today. I'm only good time when you got on the phone. You start off with hello, you end up with goodbye. Today, you start off with hello, you end up with hello, 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 hello. That's how you end up with. And nowadays, it's crazy. No one can reach at it. So I just couldn't deal with it. I was tired. I couldn't deal with it. I threw my hands up. I says, Eibishter, I'm not getting the million. You are. I promise you. That's what I said. Eibishter, you're going to get the million this time. There were 3 minyanim there. And it was never so geschmack because I davened. I says, Eibishter, I want it to be geschmack and smooth. I got a ride there. Usually have to, how to get there drives me sugar. Every time I have to start from scratch. How do you get to that? Beth Israel Cemetery in Woodbridge. How do you get make the right turn. You miss the turn, you get lost. Listen to this one. Now I'm going to tell you one of my mipsim. It's a nasty thing that I did today. It's a very nasty thing. My nephew took me there. Now I learned for an hour. And I told him, as soon as I get into the car, I don't like to schmooze with people. Between you, I'll tell you openly. But lately it's getting on my nerves. I think I'm going to start schmoozing again. It's a little too much, too extreme. But officially, I like to be, learn, do something with your life. So, but the Mendel schmooze, my father, my uncle, they schmooze, but no Lashon Hara, and they schmooze. It was a different world. They were full of simcha the way they schmoozed. Full of, they sang. Rav Shiner became from because he was a bacha by the Mandels, the 4 Mandel brothers. Shabbos afternoon was 4 hours of singing. Did you learn? Did you sleep? Sing! They were real Hasidic. These are the real Hasidic. They didn't wear shtreimels, but they had Hasidus. They were originals, capitulates. They were really Hasidim. They loved Hashem. They loved Jews. they would kiss Jews in the streets, And they had Ahavas Yisrael, and they had Simcha, and they schmoozed around. They were intense and nervous. They lived a beautiful life. My father used to watch that squirrel. Watch, he looks like he's enjoying that acorn. Look at him. Look at him ringing. Oh, he gave a spring. Oh, he's having a good time. My father enjoyed the world. He took a deep breath. Hashem's frische Luft. The delicious, the air, the sun. My father loved being alive. He loved, the Goyim loved him. He saw a Geschmacka guy. He said, that's a Geschmacka, He used to laugh. Mike Santora, he had doggies over there. He loved his dogs. He was an Italian guy, lived down the block. He was overweight. The guy could barely move. But he used to laugh a lot. He was Geschmack. He was red from all the schnapps that he drank. My father liked him. There's Mike, and my father liked his dogs. He used to pat his dogs. Skippy is a good doggie. Yes, Mike. And Mike said, yeah, he's a good doggie. My father enjoyed the world. He enjoyed people. He loved people. He loved having a good time. All the Mandels were that mahalach. They enjoyed Hashem's delicious world. Not push it. I wanted to say one of the greatest things, my father's accomplishment. He was able to be Sevel me. That he was zeichet to me. I mean, he was able to. No, I don't want to put myself down. You don't know how to do that. Okay, anyway. So, how did I get into this? Yeah, so I sit there. I don't schmooze. Here comes my mifus. Don't tell my nephew what I did here. So I tell my nephew, now I need that hour. Whenever I go, it's got to be a full hour. I have a Kabbalah, I don't talk out. So that's why I'm putter from schmoozing and socializing. How are you and how are the kids? I'm not shy. I'm not so much into that. I make up for it, don't worry. I have quality time. As soon as I get to where we're going, suddenly I open up and I make it everything. But right now I want to learn in the car. I take out to save my muscles and I start learning. And I says, how long does it take us to get there? He said, 50 minutes. I said, 10 minutes short of my hour. The kid said he was going to get there 40 minutes according to the thing. But he started getting lost. And he started going and I dafka went with him because he knows how to do things, not like me. I'm the guy that's always getting lost. He's a smooth operator, my nephew. He's on the ball. And this time, boy, he got lost. And he doesn't know why. I needed my full hour, Bobby. And he had to get there in time, and he had to come back right away, So everything was stalled off because I needed my hour. Don't tell this to anybody. That was one of my mitzvahs. Here's a famous story. The Chatzkel, Achsidish Rebbe, made a tish. The Rebbe was a tzaddik Yisrael, don't worry about him. But anyway, Chatzkel used to go to sleep 12 o'clock in Panovich. And in the middle of the tish, and they would get in the middle of a tish. It was right underneath where Reb Chatzkel used to sleep. They say the tish suddenly crashed. Exactly when Reb Chatzkel would had to go to sleep, the tish disappeared. So Reb Chatzkel would get his night. So you never heard that story? It's a very good story. So I'm also like Reb Chatzkel, I hold for myself, by the way, just in case you guys don't. I grab it. You may not hold from yourselves, but I do hold for me. I hold. Beshita. I want to say, now I'm going to give my father credit till Shemayim. The truth is, okay, let's go. Whatever I have is my father. But I say this to everybody. You want to give Reb Chaim Kanevsky, you want to make him feel good in Yenevelt, write a book about yourself. Don't put yourself down. All these people are giving credit. Give yourself all the credit for everything and anything. Be about Gaivanik till Shemayim. The Yetzirah to put yourself down is so strong. It's powerful. Your mind is full of his tzidkis. What about you? You're never living. Okay, let's say you have ADHD and you can't concentrate. And you're stuck and you can't learn much and you have tzar. You know what you are in Shemayim for that alone? It's not a joke. It's precious. Take a look at Chazal. You don't believe in. They're not mammon. They're kaif in Chazal. You're not mammon in Lefum Tzara Agra. There's a Taisvis and Avodah Zarah and a Kedusha in other places who says the Mitzvah Vice is better because he has worries. The warrior, you're one of those warriors that's trying to do things right, the matzahs. For your worries, that makes you, the smooth operator is a joke compared to you. The guy that's worried, I'm not going to get a good seder, I'm not my chavrusa, the worry, for worries, you're a gobble. From Tzara Agra, Hashem Yerachem. You're just like when I sang. I said I sang 100 times. People don't believe in it. They don't believe it. They're kaifa. You're kaifa in Vom Tzaragra. You only respect the guy who made it. Why is the matzah broken? And you offer that to the aniyim. Broken matzah from halach ma'anya. That's what you give a guest. Yeah, and the whole agod has to be Shaina Nolav Dorim Habe. The Prusa, the broken guy. Who's the Afikaim and Osvite, the broken. Zechel Karmbeza broken. What's broken? Why don't you have a shleimim? You need shleimim. You know what the answer is? It's like the Kotzker Rebbe. There's nothing as whole as a broken heart. Amat says, right, like a heart. There's nothing as whole. And said, I heard B'Shem Alvin Kelm. Leiv Nishba V'Nitkel L'Kim L'Sibzeh. If you don't have a broken heart, throw them out. Sivzeh. You don't have a broken heart, get out of here. You're not normal. But I will tell you, all kidding aside, if you're going to learn Shar B'Tachon an hour a day, say goodbye to the broken heart. It's gone forever. But according to the Alta of Nevada, you're going to tzchar like the worst broken heart. Because you worked on it, you don't feel the pain of all your problems. You're going to get the same. You're going to lose all the Gehenna like everyone else because you had your student. And you'll have a great life here too. But B'Tachon takes care of everything. Okay, we go. Now, Pesach was over. There's a whole rite of the visions of Sidim. They held you take Pesach and bring it in. I just put out, try to get, I don't have it here, but I put out stuff on Pesach. Bring those vetlach and don't dump Pesach in the corner. Pesach has to go along. We just went out of Mitzrayim. We just saw the sea split. You have to believe once and for all. I'm sorry. Whether you mean it, you don't mean it. I believe the water can split. My matzah, which looks impossible, it will change. You have to get the chazed at your whole life. This is just a recharge for a whole year. You see us Mitzrayim. The whole year you're going to chazed in davening. And you have to get the message across. And you learn a lot of Moshe that the Abish can do anything. I just met somebody years ago. I had to do with a couple I was tutoring a group. Of all those kids, there was one of them that was like, I hesitated telling the mother, what's the matzah with that kid? All the others, they were knocking. And this kid was a problem. He simply couldn't. Today, he's by far the biggest Mitzuyan in the whole family. What happened? B'Tachon. He got involved with the Eibishter, and he davened to the Eibishter. And you go, I know a guy who was bipolar, and the guy one day, he was going to Gehenna all his life. He was a nervous, crazy guy. He couldn't get up. And one day he stood before the Aron Kodesh and he cried for half an hour. He walked out, he was cured. You know, a Yom Tov could do to you, you gotta believe in Kriyas Yamsuf, no more. Yes, she'll become a Kala. Yeah, I just told you a story, 28-year-old girl. Boom, I just spoke on the phone. She became a Kala 15 years ago in Bnei Brak. Anyway, just became a Kala like with one bracha. The Abish can do anything. Don't believe I have a 34-year-old. I have two 34-year-old girls. You know that? One became a kala like right after my bracha. 34-year-old girl. I asked the mother. They called me before the chuppah also again to get me there. Another bracha for me. I says, Rebbitzin, when you got a bracha from me, did you believe it? She said, no, I didn't believe a word in your bracha. A month later, 2 months later, she was a kala, 34. Did your daughter believe it? She did. So, okay. But I can do Maipsim even if you don't believe in me. I'm a special Rebbe. There's a new dar. You don't have to believe in the Rebbe. It's going to work anyway. I'll leave you one story. This happened. Somebody asked me, could you give a bracha and it should work? Even if the Chassidim, you know what the Belzer Rebbe once said? You know why I'm such a Baal Maifus? They all believe in me. The better, more. I have Chassidim. They believe everything I say. They talk again, much more than other people. I know a Chassidish guy, he got triplets because he believed in the Rebbe. All the Chassidim were laughing about it. He says, Atomim. The Rebbe said, triplets. You know, and he got it. You know, those who believe, they're for sure the best way to go. But I don't believe in that. I believe for sure that's good, but you don't need it. This guy, they asked me, can you give brachas and they'll work even if they don't believe it? And I said, yes! It didn't pass me to say no. I always hold Rapapa Basra. We have a new dar, now everything works. The worst Moshe say they'll work. You fell asleep in the middle of the say it's going to work. Today everything goes. It's a different world. I can daven for 1 second. I'll have nisim goyim. I'm serious about this. I could do nothing. Maybe she'll do everything for me. Now, so what happened? So I told the guy, yes, it does. And the guy was a real cynical, sarcastic type of guy. He was out to get me. What if I don't believe in you? I said, it's going to work just the same. I wasn't going to tell, well, you don't believe, you don't work. No, work. I'll supply the bטחון. You don't have to be about bטחון. I'm the Tamim. I'll take care of it. He'll get it, whatever you want. That night, Yingaman from Westgate comes over to me. He says, Rabbi Mendel, 4 years ago, I had a son who was tearing down the whole house. He was a terror. When he used to walk into the house, everybody disappeared, including the parents. He was a terror. And he was taking things, Hashem Yirachem. He was a dangerous kid, destroying the whole house. And there's nothing he could do, all the therapists garnished. And you gave me a bracha that he's going to become the biggest nachas in the family, which is exactly what happened. Today, they can't wait till he comes home because he's the sweetest, nicest masbid from tzaddik in the world. So now your volume. I says, can I ask you a question? When I give you the bracha, did you believe it? He says, no, I did not. So there, I had that day, I got the story. You hear this? I want to add one. That day I said it, now I just want to add one thing about this kid. When he was a bum, he used to go around saying all day, I believe in learning. He never opened the sefer to open his life. He used to speak from. I believe in speaking from. Let's say you're not holding by, let's say in certain kas, you're always getting angry, so I don't hold from kas. Make believe you're one of those tzaddikim that never gets angry, and I don't hold from it. Or kedusha, or learning, you're the worst bottle in the yeshiva. Ich halt lernen, sound like one of those real big shots. This kid used to do that. Bishasi wasn't worth a dime, and eventually it came true. When Hashem sees that you want to do the right thing, you're talking like a real frumak, someday it'll come true. Because everything, pleasure meeting everybody. Have a good year coming up. A gesunden Zimmer, gesunden Rochnies and Gashmias. Should be zeichet.